Okay. Let's see. We have Mr. Pan here, I believe. I see Mr. Pan. Thank you, Mr. Pan. You have one measure before us, which is AB-980.
Yes.
AB-980.
So I'd like to present AB-980, and if, with the indulgence of the chair, if I can just make a brief statement on AB-1038. I know
I already dispensed with that measure already,
okay.
So we'll focus on your 980 right now.
Okay.
Thank you much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Today I have before you AB-980, which will create parity between all primary care clinics when it comes to licensing and building standards. AB-980 calls for emergency regulations to repeal sections of Title 24 that would impose unequal and burdensome building requirements on clinics that provide abortions that do not apply to all other clinics, ensures that all primary care clinics are aligned and held to the appropriate standard for the level of health care services they provide. It also calls on the Department of Public Health to evaluate and revise Title 22 licensing standards for clinics providing abortion that are inconsistent with current law and standards of care. This measure has minor costs to OSHPD and one-time costs to the Department of Public Health. It will allow primary care clinics who are essential health care access points for many Californians to open quickly and more efficiently. We're working with the administration and departments involved in the issue to craft language and address issues in the long term. I respectfully ask for your aye vote, and I have witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. Pan. Let me say something very quickly to both the supporters as well as those who oppose this measure. I want folks to be succinct on point with regards to the fiscal. I want to be respectful. This is an issue that I know that for many folks, both on this committee as well as in the state, is a very controversial and polemic and polarizing issue across the board. So I want to be respectful. I want to get everyone's perspective, but I don't want something that's drawn out. I want folks to be point on the fiscal. So that means those who are in support and those who may testify on opposition. Please focus on that. Thank you.
Great. Good morning, Chair and members. Brianna Pittman with Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California. We represent more than 100 community clinics throughout the state and are pleased to sponsor AB 980. AB 980 creates parity for clinics that provide abortion services in regards to licensing and building standards. Both California's licensing and building codes contain antiquated sections that single out abortion providers for specific restrictions on space, personnel, and equipment. Some of these regulations are more than 30 years old, and many are out of date, both with current law and accepted medical standards. AB 980 will delete and revise the licensing and building regulations to eliminate this disparity while maintaining patient safety. Abortion is one of the, it's an exceptionally safe medical procedure with very minimal risk. Early abortions have a complication rate of less than 2%. Including infections. And the Department of Public Health recently sent a response letter to a congressional committee detailing the oversight of abortion providers. And the truth is that abortions in California are heavily regulated and audited, and there's no evidence of any safety concerns. Nothing in this bill removes the oversight, review, and inspections of our health centers and other health centers that provide abortions. And it also does not lower the building standards providing abortion for clinics providing abortion. It simply ensures that our health centers are held to the same standards as all other primary care clinics. Okay.
Okay.
There's minor costs at one time, so we urge your support.
All right. Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Beth Parker, I'm the Chief Legal Counsel for Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California. I'm just here to field any
technical questions. Thank you. Next.
Kathy Mossberg, representing the California Family Health Council. We are in support of the bill, agree with all the previous comments, and urge the support of the committee.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support of the measure? Come on down. Other witnesses in support of the measure? We have two other witnesses. Why don't you make your way down? Come over here. Yes. Witness in support.
Hi, just Erica Root from Sacramento here in support of the measure.
Thank you very much. Next witness.
Yeah, Kathleen Kogan from Sacramento here in support of the bill.
Great. Thank you very much. Those in opposition to the measure. Those in opposition to the measure, come on down.
Janelle Trevathan, on behalf of the Coalition for Women and Children. We believe AB 980 will create significant cost to the state of California. The immediate cost will be incurred by the Department of Public Health when it spends a year or more repealing or revising the Title 22 regulations that currently protect women when they have an abortion at a community clinic. These regulations are not insignificant. Repealing and revising them should involve considerable investigation and public input. They're in your packet, which has a blue label on it. I hope you will have a chance to look at those. I've highlighted some of the important things that would have to be considered. Once AB 980 is fully implemented, abortions could be performed at every community clinic in California. Many more abortions will occur when women who are shocked, fearful, and in crisis are offered an immediate solution, possibly in the same room and at the same time that they get their pregnancy test results. Increasing significantly the nearly $42 million we now pay every year for over 90,000 abortions. The increase in abortions will also increase the already significant cost to the healthcare system due to the long-term after effects of abortion. Reputable studies, which are included with citations in that packet with the blue cover, increasingly prove that both serious physical and psychological complications of abortions do occur. These include premature births in subsequent pregnancies, reproductive complications, infertility, increased risk of lung, cervical, and breast cancer, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, psychiatric disorders, drug abuse, alcohol abuse are just some of these long-term after effects that will impact the entire healthcare system, including the California Medi-Cal program that will be paying indefinitely. While the passage of AB 980 will create significant cost to the state of California, it will be the abortion industry that will benefit. The sponsor of this bill, Planned Parenthood, has complained that special building requirements for their clinics that perform abortions would cost them too much. Yet, as you can see on the last page of your packet, the currently available 990 forms for their 9 California nonprofit entities show that at the end of 2010, they had over $20 million cash on hand, over $40 million in savings, and in order to promote bills such as AB 980, spent nearly $2 million just that year lobbying legislators such as yourselves. Considering the significant cost of AB 980 to California taxpayers and the reality of who will actually benefit financially from this bill, the Coalition of Women and Children urges you to vote no on AB 980.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go to the next witness. Again, I remember this, not this exact bill, but obviously tangentially the same topic. I'm going to ask you to please be succinct, because what happens is that when you go on, you actually take time away from other folks who don't have an opportunity to get in a word in edgewise, and we're going to be leaving in actually very, very soon. So I would ask you to be succinct. Thank you.
As our elected representatives, it is imperative that you be good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. The primary proponents of this bill, Planned Parenthood, is the world's largest abortion provider and has a history of fraudulent misuse of taxpayer money. It's currently under investigation by the federal government's General Accounting Office. Planned Parenthood receives nearly 1/3 of its budget from public funds, especially here in California, where we taxpayers pay for over 90,000 abortions each year. The sponsors of this bill openly admit that money is the motive, claiming that they will have to pay an additional 18% in construction costs to carry out the current building standards. As the Coalition for Women and Children, we are asking you to put the health and safety of women above the greedy financial demands of the abortion industry. In recent weeks, Planned Parenthood was found guilty of overcharging taxpayers in Texas.
Let me add one thing too. Just I want to be respectful again of everyone's opinions,
so.
and I know that you feel very strongly on this issue. I wanted to focus, on 980. This is not about Planned Parenthood. They're not on trial right now. Right now, we're dealing with 980. I know that the witness before you spoke, specifically to the fiscal aspects of 980 and what it pertains to. So I would ask you. I have your statement here too. It's rather lengthy to.
Senator, I'd like to continue. With all due respect, you've spent 45 minutes on plumbing, diesel tanks. This is the most important vote that you'll come before you today. I'd like to continue.
Excuse me, Madam, please. I want to give you the respect that you deserve, but the one thing that I ask you, again, is to keep your comments germane to this measure. Now, exactly. I'm giving you the recognition you respect, given the passion that you have for this issue. I understand it, and I respect it. I recognize it. All I'm asking you to do is keep it focused on this measure, on the fiscal aspects. That's all I ask.
Right, fiscal aspects. And you are responsible for protecting women and children and the California taxpayers. The California Planned Parenthood in 2004 had overcharged the state and federal government by over $5 million by charging over 4 times what they actually paid for birth control pills. How did this Senate body respond to the abortion industry's fraudulent overbilling? Instead of demanding that the taxpayers of California be reimbursed for these serious, egregious overcharges, 2 of your colleagues, Deborah Ortiz, who was then chairwoman of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee, and current Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, sponsored legislation to retroactively solve the problem of overcharging Planned Parenthood taxpayers. The former Senator Ortiz was rewarded for her efforts with a job as Vice President of Public Affairs at Planned Parenthood Miramonte. Meanwhile, Senator Hannah Beth Jackson continues to sponsor Planned Parenthood bills, and in her response to that, and I've given you an article from the LA Times.
Why don't we do this? Because I have I'm following you as you read verbatim, and again, let me say this. I'm reading it verbatim, and I do appreciate you submitting your testimony. I'm reading it in each paragraph.
Senator Jackson says, I was told and persuaded by Planned Parenthood to reformulate these charges that they would they would be losing money. So again, it's all about money. It's not about the taxpayers. It's not about women's health or children. As members of the Senate Appropriations Committee, I ask you, what other industry gets this special treatment?
I'm gonna have to move on, and I appreciate. Well, we'll keep your comments. We'll put it on the record right there. Thank you. I'm gonna go to the next witness. Thank you very much. Thank you. And again, to those folks who are going to speak in opposition to the measure, that's why we're here to get your feedback, your input. But again, the first witness did a pretty good job in sticking to the fiscal aspects. I'd ask the same thing. And I thank you for your participation, and have a good day.
Earl Hogan. I represent the California Catholic Conference of Bishops. We are opposed to AB 980, especially because it's an emergency regulation. I don't see this as an emergency in any shape or form.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Liz Yost and Anna Yost of Fairfield, California, just in opposition.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Kimberly Olmstead, Sacramento, I'm going to oppose. We're talking about women's health, and it's almost, if you remove the regulations, it's almost like a drive-through.
Thank you. Okay.
Please
Thank you.
oppose it.
Sergeants, could we please take the microphone over here so we can help facilitate them so they don't have to wait and get up? So take the microphone over there, Sergeants. Go ahead. Yes, you're fine. Yes.
My name's Joan Donahue, and I'm from Placer County, and I respectfully ask that you oppose this bill, for I think it lowers health care for women and will have a higher cost for the state.
Thank you, Ms. Donahue. Thank you. Next witness.
Hello, my name is Olga Herman. I'm a California voter, and I'm also a minister. And AB 980 would open up more opportunities for abortions. I have ministered to hundreds of women who've had 4 and 5, and the devastation and the cost to the state of California for long-term care of trauma is just astronomical, and that's what you need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Next witness, you can, right where you're at, sir. Go ahead, feel free. I think the microphone may be on.
I'm Ralph Merletti of St. Rose Parish, South Sacramento, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you very much, sir. Next witness in opposition.
Hi, thank you. My name is Sally Fong. I represent St. Peter and Paul Parish here today. I strongly oppose AB 980, and I do know what I'm talking about. I'm a post-abortive mother, wife, and I strongly oppose this, and I hope that you will too. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Have a good day. Next witness.
I'm Peggy Bangs. I'm from Carmichael, California. I come from a medical family, and we strongly oppose this bill because it lowers the standard of care for women.
Thank you very much.
Patrick Lee, Roman Catholic priest in Sacramento. I am here in strong opposition to the bill.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Next two witnesses.
I'm Warner Sargent. I'm not the Sergeant of Arms, but my last name is Sargent. And I'm from downtown Carmichael. I'm a retired educator, and I strongly oppose this bill. Ask prayerfully for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sargent.
I'm Al Romberg, prenatal murder opponents. I would succinctly ask you to at least show that you're not all toadies to Planned Parenthood, and whatever they want and whatever they ask for. It'd be nice to see one Democrat prove that he's not a Planned Parenthood toady. It's embarrassing to see a medical doctor presenting a bill like this, particularly a pediatrician.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's inappropriate.
Okay. Now, I see no other opposition. Finance, do you have a file?
No file on this, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any questions or commentaries from the members right now? Mr. Gaines?
I just would like to say something.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It has, regardless of one's belief on this issue, looking at this piece of legislation, I think by lowering the standards of buildings in which these operations are performed does put women's health at risk. And I think that is the primary concern, regardless of the issue itself, and I'll be voting no.
Mr. Gaines, questions or commentary?
Yeah, I've got real issues with this too. Why would you lower the standard for which surgeries are going to occur? This is not a doctor's visit. Okay, this is a surgery. So why would you exempt these facilities from any other medical facility that would perform a surgery? I think it makes no sense. I think it's a moral and ethical issue to the state of California. This is a statement.
Question to the
I'm just making a statement.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think there's a moral, ethical issue. I think it puts the state at risk because what they're doing through regulation and the change of the code, they're justifying a lower standard for a medical procedure. And I'm not an attorney, but it seems to me that putting women at risk, sanctioned by the state of California, opens up the state to litigation. Thank you.
Thank you much, Mr. Gaines. Any other questions or commentaries from the members? I'm seeing none. Mr. Pan, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just emphasize again, this bill basically creates parity. We're not lowering standards. We are basically applying the same standards across the board for similar procedures. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a motion that is on the floor after some very heated debate on this issue. Do we have a motion right here? We have a motion that's been made by Mr. Ricardo Lara. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. De Leon?
Aye.
De Leon, aye. Walters? No. Walters, no. Gaines? No. Gaines, no. Hill? Aye. Hill, aye. Lara? Aye. Lara, aye. Padilla? Aye. Padilla, aye. Steinberg? Aye. Steinberg, aye.
Measure passes on a 5-2 vote, and it goes to the Senate floor.